Hi everybody, it's Cindy the Scrapologist on Etsy. I'm here making a custom order for a very lovely customer of mine, and as I was making the book I remembered that some people had asked me how I make the cover. It's a book similar to this with a trifold, so it opens to the left and it opens to the right. I can't get the whole thing on camera, but the spine is done with Craftex. I talk about Craftex in one of my other videos, and I have a video on how to make an entire cover with this and make it look like leather. Craftex is so durable that I really like it on the spine because you want these to last and be in your family for a good long time, and so I like to use Craftex. I do not use paper on my spines. Those do wear out over time. They also feather and they don't particularly look good sometimes. It doesn't always work with paper, and this just is going to be able to open and close forever without tearing or wearing out. So I'm making one of these covers, and I thought I would just show you very quickly. It's super easy. I had already started it before I realized that I should be taping this. So these are the spines. So what you need is you need Craftex, and which is a kind of a paper cloth combination. You can sew on it, you can stamp on it, you can wash it in the washing machine. Like I said, I have other videos that talk about Craftex as well as links as to where you can buy it. So I just want to quickly give you the measurements. I already started the spine. So these two pieces are what you see here, the spine pieces that the covers are going to attach to. So I have two pieces of Craftex. It comes in a variety of different colors. For this particular book I'm doing black for this custom order. And the Craftex pieces measure 10 3/4 by 4. So I cut out two pieces. Then I cut out two pieces of chipboard that measure the same thing, 10 3/4 by 1 inch. Obviously, you can adjust these measurements if you want something a little larger. This particular one is a larger book, and this is 10 3/4 by 1.5. So you can adjust your measurements according to whatever your project is. Then I took the chipboard and I glued it to the center of the Craftex. Glue is the best adhesive for Craftex unless you're going to sew something on. Tape doesn't really adhere really well. It's not as permanent as glue. So I glued the chipboard piece to the center. And now what I'm doing, I already did this one. Now what I'm doing is I am taking, I lost my pencil. I'm taking my ruler and I'm just measuring out from the edge of the chipboard. I'm measuring out 1/4 inch on each side of the chipboard. Okay. And I already did it on this one, so hopefully you can see. I just have my pencil mark there. And what we're going to do is we're going to put the covers, we're going to glue them, just glue them on where that line appears. Now for this particular book, let's see if I'm going to be able to show this all on camera here. The left and the right, there are three pieces that you cut, the left and the right and the middle. So it ends up going together like this. Okay? The left and the right pieces measure, at least what I'm doing today, 10 3/4 by 7.5. And I'll tell you about the centerpiece in a little bit. So let's get my glue out. So these are the left and the right pieces that I have here. And I'm just going to put my glue down. Nice and thick. And line my paper up with the pencil line that I did earlier. And just make sure that it's on there nice and good. Hold it down for a little while to let it stick. Had to get a tissue for my glue fingers. Okay. So this is one of the left and right pieces. Then on this side, we're going to put the middle piece. The middle piece is slightly larger, and it is 10 3/4 by 7 3/4. That's going to go on this side. Whoops. And again, we're just going to line it up with the pencil mark. Okay. Then you're going to take your other spine piece and we're going to put it on, we're going to glue it on like this. Again, just lining it up with the pencil mark. And then our last piece just gets glued on here. Pretty easy once you have the measurements figured out. Okay, so now we have one big long piece. Here's one cover, here's the back of the book, and here's another cover. In lieu of, I'm just using cardstock for my covers on this particular album, but you can do this with chipboard instead of cardstock. Then what I do is I take this and I have a book press, and I put it in my book press to just lay it nice and flat while it is adhering. But the other thing you can do is just tuck it under your mat too. Just put it under here while you're working, and it'll sort of flatten out for you, and you'll make sure that it's all adhered down really well. So here's one that I did yesterday that's been in my book press overnight. And the next thing you have to do is you have to kind of train your craft text. Because it's just one big piece. So your folds, you're going to fold where the edge of the paper meets that line that we did earlier. and just gently fold it. Fold it over a little bit and just do your next one. And just make it a little pliable. Train your craft text which way you want it to go. And it's a little stiff in the beginning until you really use the album a lot, but that's okay. Okay, so there you have the start of an album with your craft text spines. And it can either open this way or it can open this way. And then what you do is you don't want these to show. So I usually take a couple of pieces of black paper and put them over the chipboard if I'm not going to decorate the spine, which I'm not for this particular book. So let me get some paper. And I'm going to cut it at, I usually like to do it the same as the craft text, which I forgot what it was, 10 3/4 by 4. Now for the inside pieces, I do use my double-sided tape. It's just adhering stuff to the craft text that really requires that wet adhesive. What? I meant to grab my 1/2-inch tape. Let's see. This is what I use, score tape. I think most of you already know about score tape. Seems to be the most popular adhesive. I have to be so careful with these strips because my dog likes to eat them. That is not good. Okay. So then we're just going to put this here. Cover over that spine mechanism. And I can't find my burnishing tool. Here it is. Sometimes my measurements aren't exactly precise. I've got a little bit of the chipboard showing there. That's okay. I will just take my ruler and this and I'll cut it and trim it up before I start decorating. So that's okay if that's... Sometimes it's hard with the chipboard to get exactly to the 1/8 of an inch what size you want. So there's that. And then we'll do the same thing over here on the other side. So today I'm just showing how I make the cover. I'm not going to be showing how I make the inside, because all you do is go ahead and just follow whatever you normally do when you're making a mini album or a junk journal or whatever. But if anybody's interested, if there are enough people interested in how I make the inside of the book and what the measurements are, the inside here, I could maybe do a tutorial on the inside at some point. But a lot of you are so creative, you'll figure it out. You'll come up with something spectacular. So I'm just going to cover this spine mechanism over here. Try to line it up as evenly as I can. That turned out pretty good. And really burnish it, because this is going to get a lot of use. Okay, so now that you have put this paper on, you need to train your book again, which way to go. And I like to just bend it a little bit and gently put the crease in here. This is where your pencil mark was earlier. Find your chipboard piece and find it again. Don't burnish too hard or you will tear. Bend that again. And there, now we have our spine. And let's do that to the other end. Just fold it a little bit to find your chipboard. Burnish it down. Melody Jones is on. Hi, Melody. How you doing? I just realized that you said hi. Sorry, I'm so intent on what I'm doing. Dookie. All right. I like the left flap over right. I don't know why. I guess it just makes more sense to my logical brain that it opens like this. But you can do it any way you want. Now see, it's still kind of stiff. You're going to have to keep gently working that craft text and that paper in there. There you go. Now you have a nice book. Now you notice, let me fix my camera view for myself here. You notice that the chipboard does show, and sometimes the glue shows. I just take my ink. I'm not going to do it right now because I don't have my black handy. I have my favorite vintage photo. I just take my black ink and I ink the chipboard here, and it looks very nice. It doesn't show at all, and this just is so sturdy. It's not going to tear. And it's even now this one here. This is a little bit of a bigger spine, and I did use chipboard for this cover, the three pieces that I showed you earlier, where you have a left and a right and a back. I used chipboard for this one, and it's really heavy. I know, Melody, and you get a free tool because you got on board quickly. I can't wait for you to get your kit either. I'm really super excited about this kit. Super, super excited. Canvas Corp and I are going to have a nice relationship going forward, I think. I have so many kits I want to do with their stuff. So the next thing I'll do is I will probably start making the inside. Now see, it's still kind of wonky, so you just have to keep playing with it. It's okay. You want to train that paper gently and slowly over time, and the more you work with it, the more pliable it gets. You see how easy this one opens now because I've shown it a million times, and it just opens. It lays nice and flat. It's one of my favorite covers to make. So okay, well that's all I wanted to show you today, really. If you have any questions or comments, hit the comment button below and let me know. If there's enough response, I will maybe try to do a video of how I do the inside. But I wanted to show you this quick cover, and look, we made this in under 20 minutes, so not bad. So thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you don't want to miss any tutorials. I'm about to put up another tutorial on how to use your scraps, and I'm going to be making these cute little envelopes, origami envelopes. So thank you all for watching, and bye, Melody. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you all later.